Hey there troops, you a bunch of buggering bastards. Aye, wee bit of Scottish here for you. Right, what we're going to do, I'm going to try and show you how to find certain things. So, first, really important is the exchange. So you go to items, beside loyalty store, you see exchange, then you'll have outlaw store. Now, if you look here, right there, that's where you get refresh tickets. Now, every time you refresh, it will keep going up. So it maybe start at 5, then it will want 10, then it will want 15, so on. But you just keep buying the tickets every day if you can. It's 850 gold. So it's definitely worth it because you refresh 5 times. Wait, I'll turn that off. You refresh 5 times a day, and that will let you gather enough crystals to upgrade. So I'm on this. This is range, so you can see the range there. I've took range, and I've took range there and troop defence. I've ignored traps, and I ignored siege. Don't touch them at all. They're absolutely hopeless. They're just big shiny cannons. So ignore. You refresh 5 times a day. That'll help you gather up your crystals. Right? Then we go to Wicked shop. That's when you hit Wicked gangs. So in here, exact same. You go to the side there, buy the tickets, you'll refresh it 5 times a day. Then it's your type. So on this, I've got 3 types going, so I'm trying to get them all, which is hard. But just say your calves. Well, you've got steel screws, that's for calves. You've got hair powder, that's for range. So you also get brass bars, that's for range. You'll get iron bars, I'm sure it's called, that's for calves. You'll get indigo silk and copper buttons, that's for infantry. So you're aiming for what you want every day, refresh and gather, right? Then what you do is you come here, I'll show you. If it ever loads. Right, so what you do is you come to the forge, click on forge, go down and you see crystals at the bottom there. Right here. So you go into there, and with the way this works is it works a 4-to-1 ratio. So you need 4 crystals to move 1 next. So you can see there it's 1 to 4. So if I get 4, it will move 1. Then I need to get another 4, it will move 1, so on and so forth. What you're trying to do is you see here, 12%. That's the kind of bluey one. You're trying to fill your gear with all 12s. You want 12 on everything. You don't want to be adding 18s. I'll show you. You don't want to be adding the 18, because if you've got 18 and then you've got 8s on there, which is them, that's no good. You want it to be all 12s, then work up onto the 18s. So what you do is, I'll try and show you, there's one here. So that's a wee bit too much. This one. So you see I've got 7 on here. So it's 7 there. So what will happen is, when I press that, 1 will move up and 3 should stay in place. Then so on. So as I add more, I'll show you. That's moved up to 1. Then 3 stayed there. This is what you do. So if you've got a load of crystals like this, I'll start there. Add them to there. Add them to there. Add them to there. And all of a sudden I've got 3 12s. So if I really wanted siege on, which you don't, then I would have 3 to add. So the way crystals work is it's just by numbers. You want it to be all 12s, then work on 18s, and that kind of frees you up. If you start adding 18s and you've only got 8% on, if you add them and you've only got 8% on, then you're lost in power. what you would do is, I'll show you here if I go into traps. So you would take that 18 off and it will go back into this basket. So that's your 18 there for whatever type, life, defence, infantry, whatever it is, not traps. But it'll go back into here. Then as you see on the right hand side, left hand side, sorry, you've got decompose. Now basically what that does is it reverses what you've done with the crystals. So if you've moved them up to 18s and you want it back down, then you go to decompose. And what that'll do is it will recover the crystals back down one. So then that'll let you have all 12s on your gear, then work on the 18s. So as you decompose, now all of a sudden I've got 8 crystals. So I only had 4 a minute ago. So the way it works is that's now me got 8 12% to add onto my gear, rather than having 118 and whatever amount of 8s. It's just a numbers game. You just want more boosts as possible. So you kind of understand that you're moving the gear up. I'll show you again in traps. So then you move that up to there, that up to there. Now I've got 14. So if it's 4, quite simple to work out. Should be 2 left, 3 up. That's it. So now I've got 11 of them to add to whatever I want. Trap, siege, just don't use them. They're a waste of time just now. So what you would do is, if you've got, there you can see I've got calves there, good few crystals. So what I could do is go to my gear, not the town, go to my gear, go in here. So you can see if I filter. So what I'll do is show you this. So on the right hand side of here, this is me in equipment. On the right hand side you see filter. See here and here. Now these two things are different types of filter. So there. So the first filter is type. So if you're wanting to look at all your hats, then click hats, and that's going to show you all the different types of hats you've got. Now if you're looking for a specific, which is the second filter, if you go down here to the second one, then you've got this filter here. Now this is more a normal type filter, where you've got all different construction, research, forging, training, whatever it is you're looking for. So say we're wanting to see range, so I click on the range troops, and then that's all my range hats. Now if I want to see jacket, same, boots, gun, sidearm. So basically use filters for both things. Use it for this and it helps you cut down. If you've got a load of gear, then you're just going to get all mixed up with your equipment. So this, what you can see there, is all my range. If you look here on the right hand side, you see reset. Press that and it will allow you to reset all your filters. So push that and that's it, now back to normal again. So you can see a load of gear there. Now if you're trying to look for something, it's kind of hard going up and down all the time. So you just use the filter. So construction gear, click off the range. I want to see my construction gear. Now look, I have to go way up because it's just cut them all down. So that's it, that's my construction gear. So what you start to do is you start to get used to what your equipment is, because you're seeing it in such a small volume rather than seeing it all mixed up like that. So crystals, the way crystals work is, if you look here, now this is infantry stuff, so I've got an infantry 12, which I said before, that's what I'm trying to gather up. So if I click on infantry here, turn off construction, click that, then you can see all my infantry gear. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get all my equipment onto 12s, and what that'll do, Sorry, my door went. So what that'll do is, if I add 12s to all my infantry equipment, it'll let me start gathering up what I need. So you can see some of my infantry's got 18s. Now, I could take the 18 off and add all 12s. But right now, I'm not really using my infantry gear because you can see I've got no life or defence crystals. I've just not got enough because I'm trying to do all three just now. I've got most of my range done. So if you have a look at the range, there we go. If you look at the range, you can see I've got all 12s. I've got a load of 18s on. So I'm slowly I've got enough life and defence 18s. I'm going to leave it at that just now, and I'll just add the attack for range. So you can see it there, the orangey one. So I'll keep adding them as 18s here. I'll keep adding them as 18s, but the life and defence, which is life, defence, then I'm just going to leave it at that just now. I'm not going to add any more to them. And I'll start spreading them out over the infantry and calves. So if I click on calves, which is here, then you can see I've started adding some. So there, you've got 2 12s on. You got another one on there. I've got a few, 1 or 2 18s, is it? Aye, 2. I've got 2 18s calves attack. So slowly but surely I'll get all of them to 12, the life and defence. Then I can start to use my calves more. You don't want to be using calves. I could put lower crystals on. I could put 8s and 5s and all that kind of stuff. But what that's doing is just costing you gold all the time to take them back off. If you're not really having to use the equipment, then just don't add them to it. Just let them build up. Then add them as you're going to do it. So understanding equipment's really important. So it is. If you look in my basket, if you can see that this one's red here, that's meaning it's wanting upgraded. But if you look in here, if you look, you can see it's blue silk and cotton. It's wanting. See it here? Now, with some things, the certain materials will clash. With what I'm working on just now, it's alright because I've not got any more of that gear. It's just A3. But if you go to this, which is the Rampage stuff, that's wanting steel screws. Remember we talked about it, the steel screws? Well, that you get that out the Wicked shop, right? And if you look, turn that off, if you look here, this is also Rampage, and it's wanting steel bars. That's what we talked about in the Wicked shop. So that's the two things you're getting out the Wicked shop for the calves gear. And you can see on the right hand side here, they boosts are brilliant. So they're at gold, that is. So sometimes some equipment overlaps. So the easiest one to look at now is Reno. So you can see here, I think they're called steel pins or screws or something, I don't know what they are. But just say steel pins. You can see there, that's for Reno's jacket. So if we go back out, that's for construction boosts. If you go to, I'll use a filter and make it easier. Click off calves and you can see training. That's what I'm looking for. If you go up now, there you go. This is Reno's watch. Now it's part of the same equipment. If you look here, they're wanting the exact same. They wee steel pin things, rivets or whatever they are. So they're wanting the pins as well. So go back in, sorry. So what's happening is if I upgrade that, and that's red just now, I'm forging stuff, but if I upgrade that just now, What that's going to do is it's going to affect my watches, because it's wanting the same stuff, it's wanting the same material. So right now I've got 1 blue and 2 green on Reno's watches. I'm wanting them all blue, but the jacket forges first. That's first on the line, because it's easier to get from the green to the blue on the jacket than it is green to blue on the watches. So what you've got to do, if you see here, right here, I'm just ignoring that. I'm not going to upgrade that, even though it's saying red and it's wanting you to upgrade it. The whole point of the game is that's trying to trick you to use more material. You don't want to do that. You're trying to think in your head, what do you need? Now, I don't need Reno's jacket. I've got another construction one. If you look here, I think it's 12.8%. I'm getting from that, as you can see right here. This is the boosts, equipment boosts. You see it saying it here. This is equipment boosts without crystals, right here. Now if you look here, there's a crystal, a construction crystal on. That's adding more boosts. So if you look down here, that's adding it on there. And then up the top is the total. So that's these two added together, and that's a total boost. You don't really want to pay attention to total boosts. You really want to pay attention to the actual boost, because crystals can be took off and put on anything. You're not caring about crystal boosts when you're trying to figure out what do you want. Now if that's 12.8, you can see here. Now if I go back out and go to Reno's jacket, that's only 6. So it is. You can see here, it's at green and it's only 6 just now, which is obviously half the amount of what that other one was. So if you go to here, now if I got that to blue, you can see where it's going to blue, 9.1. Now why would I want to upgrade Reno's jacket and it's only going to take me to 9.1 when I've already got a jacket there that's 12 or nearly 13? Makes no sense. So what you're actually doing is you're holding yourself back from being able to upgrade the watches, because the watch will come second. So I'm wanting to get that watch up to blue, but as soon as I do the jacket, what's happening is I'm resetting all my materials again and I've run out. So it's really important to think ahead of what you're doing. Just don't keep forging things. I'm just waiting on my forge finishing, then I'll forge the pink flasks that's there, these ones. As soon as that finishes, I'll forge them, because I know I've only got the 3 and I don't need to worry about any overlap materials. Now if I look at the tribal equipment, every one of the tribal equipment's wanting the same stuff basically. The blood, scroll thing, whatever that is, and feather. So you just, with the tribal, you need to choose what you're aiming for. My first advice would be aim for the jacket for tribal, the armlet or cuffs I call them, and then the hat. You can, if you look, weapons, if you look here, my next aim, I've not figured it out yet. I've got the bow and arrow set, and I've got the boots. Now, if I remember right, I think the cuffs want upgraded first. Now I've got it blue, so it might not want to upgrade before the other one. More than likely it will be the bow and arrow or the boots that's wanting upgraded first. But you just have to watch that doesn't light up, then you just upgrade the cuff if you're wanting the boots and the bow and arrow, because you'll just be there for ages waiting again. So you always think ahead, don't just hit things, or have a wee kind of plan in your head and think, right, this is what I want my gear to look like, this is what I want. So although I see red dots everywhere, I have to ignore them because I want that. So you have to really understand your material and look at what you're needing. If you just willy-nilly forge things, you'll end up with gear that's all grey. A lot of people, including myself, at the start when I got tribal, I thought, right, I'm just going to forge everything. So I just forged everything, and all of a sudden everything was grey and I ran out of materials. And I was thinking to myself, what's going on? And I waited ages to get more materials, and by then I'd learned more about the game and understood that it was my mistake. What I should have done is I would have, now if I could go back, I would have picked the jacket first. Range doesn't really give you, their jackets don't give you much of a boost, so I would have definitely done the jacket first, either to green or blue if possible. Then I would have aimed for the cuffs, then the hat, because with range, if you look here, range has got a few hats. You've got the tribal hat, then you've got the leather sombrero, then you've got Bermuda's sombrero. Now, if you look here, you can see Bermuda's boost. That's 18.8. And if you go to the tribal, it's only 14.1. Now, I could add that hat and it would boost my overall. So it would put me up another 4 or 5%, whatever it may be. But if you look underneath here, you can see defense and life. Really good boosts. 14, nearly 15, nearly 10. And if you go to Bermuda's, it's not really the same. The attack's awesome. But if you look, defense, troop defense, life. Now, I'm about 4 or 5% lost on defense. And just say about 5 on troop life. Now, it's a balancing game. If I want more attack, then I could add that and I'm up. But then all of a sudden my life and defense is down. Now, life and defense is probably, I would say, probably more important than attack, in the sense if you're going to sacrifice life or defense for attack, that's not really good. You're trying to balance things. For me, I would say slightly more attack. If you could get, say, 600 attack, 500 life, and say maybe 550 defense, or 550 life and 500 defense, whatever. As long as you're kind of close, if you can get them all even, that would be superb, but it's really hard to do. So you can see you've got Vengeance Hat, again good boosts and such, but if you look, the way Vengeance works is, look at the defense it's giving you compared to that. Now you can start to see a pattern happening, where the other hat had more attack, less defense, life. This one has more life, defense, less attack. So the game's trying to get you to balance out your equipment. It's trying to make you think, right, wait a wee minute, do I want more attack here? Do I want more life here? So you're trying to balance it out. Now you can wait until that goes to gold, if I turn that off. Now you're talking big boosts there, look at that. You're talking 20% attack, 30% defense, 20% life. Now for range, life is really hard to get high. Defense, not so bad. Attack, kind of average, just the same as the rest. So Vengeance equipment for range is really good if you want to. If you're going to get hit more, then you're probably going to want Vengeance equipment. That's going to protect you more. More hits, better life and defense. No point having the best attack and you're just getting hit all the time. You've got to think about your situation. Now, if you're going into an event like Legions, say, and you're defending all the wee centres, then you're not really going to want attack as such. It's more defence, more life, more defence, because if you've took the centres, they're probably going to hit you. So it's good to have the life and defence up for certain things. Now, if you go back, reset that. Oh no, I can't reset it from there. If you look, you've got different guns for range, we'll say. So Remington model 1858 is going just now. So I'm getting that to gold, and if you look here, it's going to go to 22 for attack, but there's no life or defence for that model. The Remington's good for when you're just starting out on range because it gives you fast boost quickly, attack wise. But if you have a look at the Vengeance, without gear, remember, this is with crystals. So you can see the range attack's 43, and that's because I've got an 18 crystals. Same with the life defence, everything's all boosted. So you're wanting to look at equipment boost. Now if you look here, equipment boost. This is where the boost is its natural boost without crystals. Without them, this is what you want to look at. Because you're trying to balance out your equipment. Now look at that, the boost is more than the Remington. So it's 25. The defence 15, life 10. Now you can see that's boosting loads. So that's why I've got that on. I actually had the gun on when it was pink. I think it was about 17% it was giving you attack. But the life and defence I'm desperate for because my defence is not so bad, but the life is just hard for some reason. Could be heroes. So there's always multiple ways to go about your equipment. If you look here, this is the Rampage sword, this is for Calves. And it's the same with the Rampage, is a bit similar to the Vengeance, where it's giving you good life and defence as you level up. It's quite similar to the flasks. If you have a look at the flasks, the boosts are quite similar, where you've got a 9, 9, 6 here, which is really good. The defence and life boosts. I find that infantry and calves, they seem to boost life and defence a lot easier and faster compared to range. I don't know whether it's just my luck or it's just dragging its feet. But if you have a look at all my equipment, I've not really got any equipment that shouldn't be there. There isn't anything there that shouldn't be there. Everything there is something I use, waiting for it to upgrade, or it's good a boost, or maybe not, depending on my situation. I might say, well, I'll take that hat off and I'll put the more defensive hat on if I'm going to get hit more, that kind of thing. It's all stuff I use. There's nothing in that basket, if you're like level 12 sheriff, that's ridiculous and you just don't use. That's not me saying delete everything in your forge, because that can be even worse. If you don't know what you're doing, you just delete things. Again, you're deleting materials and that thing's now gone. So you don't want to do anything crazy and then realise a week later, like, oh no, I need that. So it's always about thinking ahead, taking your time, and ask people questions. Just ask anybody in your alliance or yourself, whoever. Google it, go to YouTube, put in westgame and whatever your problem is. So if it's westgame rally tutorials, westgame forge, westgame heroes, whatever the situation is you're trying to figure out, just put westgame and heroes, for instance, into the search engine on YouTube or Google or whatever it is. There'll be some information out there to figure it out. And if all fails, you can always ask somebody in your alliance or whatever. Now, if you go back to equipment, now this area is where you forge stuff. Now, as I talked in with the equipment you already got, it's the same with overlap materials. So you've got the Rampage sword, Rampage monocle. Things overlap. If you look in here, I've got, I think it's Alvord's, I'm not sure how you say that, but I've got his boots, and if you look further down, there's a filter, I've got his jacket. Now his jacket adds boost to infantry, if you see here, troop attack, defence, troop life. That's basically giving you boost for any troops that's on, but its main boost is the 8 here. That is for infantry. Now if you go to his boots, that's not infantry. Oh, that's not infantry, that's range here. So that's giving you range boost. And if you look here, range defence. Then it's troop load, not really a problem, and then troop attack. So you've got the troop attack and the range attack. You would just add them two together because troop is range, or calves, or infantry, whatever. But you would just add that to the 8.7, so whatever that may be, just under 15, whatever. That's your boost. So you have to watch, because the boots and the jacket, see it, the wee black thing and the wee acorn, whatever that is, and if you go to the jacket, I think it's using two of the same one, that wee black thing again. So you have to watch. I could get that to blue or pink or gold or whatever, but then it's going to affect my gear for my range, because right now I'm using the boots for my range, because it's really hard to get range boots to level up. So right now I'm using the Alvord's boots for my range. So what you do is you're going into here. This is where you forge stuff. So what will happen is you've got the filters the exact same as the last time. You've got the exact same filters. You've got the top one, which is for filtering out the actual type, so hat, boots, gloves, whatever. Then you've got the bottom one, which is more towards range, infantry, training, research, whatever the thing you're looking for. So just say I'm looking for infantry, so I would click infantry, bang. Right now, you can see here, right here, it's on gold, see it lit up? Now, this bar that's here, this corresponds to the equipment, so you've got grey, green, blue, purpley, pink, gold. So, if I click on the grey, that's taking me back to the beginning of the forge. So as it forges, it's grey, green, blah, blah, blah. So it'll take me back. So say I want Raider's suit. So what's happening is you've got gold bullets, diamond, and I think that's cider. I can't remember what it is. And that's on all now. So that was on his jacket, right? Use the filter there. So that's on his jacket. Then I'll go to his boots, click in there, and if you look again, I have no idea what that amulet thing is or whatever it is. Then you've got that diamond again. Now, the first one and the third material are different, right? But that diamond is the thing that's holding you back all the time. If you look here, the diamond, the other two is different, the diamond. So if I just go ahead and go to Raiders and just bang out boots to blue, say, or green, blue, just say blue, and then I'll go and say, right, well, I'm going to do Raiders jacket now. I've just hammered all my materials on the boots. And if you look, the jacket at blue, just say, will give a certain boost. So just say that's Raiders. Where are you? Aye, see, it's not letting me get it to blue. Aye, I went and speeded up my forge because it wasn't letting me show you this properly. So if I wanted the Raiders, it's not letting me get it to blue. It's only going to allow me to get it to green. But if you have a wee look at blue here, it's giving me a boost. It's quite good. If you look here, attack's good, defence is great because you're adding up these both here. So you're talking 10, 21, 22, 10 again. That's really good boosts. But the problem is, if you've used all your material for your boots, so you're only really going to get that to say, get it to grey 2. And you can see there, they boosts are hopeless. That's hopeless. You're never going to get anywhere with that boost. So what you would do is, you would pick another jacket. So if you go to look down, you've got Buffalo jacket. Now, this doesn't offer, just say blue's still decent, but if you can get it to pink, that doesn't offer any defence. If you look here, doesn't offer any defence at all. So by making that mistake, you've kind of sacrificed some defence just now, but you're making up a bit with the life and the attacks a bit better. So it's kind of balancing itself out. You've lost a little bit, gained more. So that would do for now. And if you have a look at the materials, you get a lot of material for Buffalo. You get certain equipment that materials come fast, and it lets you upgrade them quick. But there's always downfalls, like it having no defence and the life being quite low. So it's always good to, as I say, make sure you're not over forging things, and never ever forge two the same thing. So if you've went with the Buffalo and the Raiders boots, that's kind of decent. You've made up for that mistake. You just got to make sure, like it is with the diamonds, things overlap, and you don't want to make that mistake, because if you do, it set you back months. If you're not paying. If you're paying money, you can buy Raiders packs, which gets you the diamonds quicker. Now that's playing differently. That's playing with money. So it's up to you. If you play with money, still understanding this stuff is important, because even with money, you can still make mistakes and forge things twice and do the wrong thing. If you sometimes in the game, it's swaying you towards forging something before you realise that you've forged the wrong thing. So it's always good to use these filters on the right, and that's kind of pointing you in the right direction, because if I reset that, now have a look here, this is now all mixed up. I'm on jackets, but it's range with infantry, with calves, it's all mixed up. And if I go to all, then everything's there. Now that's absolutely impossible to ever find the thing you're looking for. It's going to take ages. That's why these filters here are so important. They speed everything up a lot. And the middle one here, this middle one here, this kind of gives you a clue on what kind of gear you've got and what you can forge. So if you go to infantry, you go to the whip, the rope bit, and you have a look. Now, the flask up the top, right now I could forge it to blue, I could forge it to grey, green, blue, purple, and gold. That's because I'm waiting. In my gear, I've got enough to forge one of these to gold. These here. I've got enough to forge one of them to gold. So you have to make sure you don't make the mistake and be in here and go, oh, brilliant, I can get that to gold. Because you've already got 3 of them. You can only put 3 on if you've already got 3. So you have to make sure you're not doing crazy stuff like that. That's another thing you can make a mistake, and I could forge that entire thing again and I'd end up with 4, and then I've just wasted materials. The materials, if I go into here, the cotton, that overlaps with other equipment. So it's the same thing. The filters help you, but they can also make you make mistakes. What I always do is say I'm going for range, and I'm going for a gun. Then the first thing I would normally do is make sure this is at grey. And that means it's at the very start. So if I want to say Doc Holiday gun, if I go into here, now I'm at grey. If I put that to gold, it might not let me do the gold. If I do that, then you see here, at this part, it changes. So if you're on green and you go into forge, you could be mistaken and think, oh no, I can't forge that. But it's because you've not forged it in grey. You have to go back to grey and then reforge it. So you start at grey and work your way up. Once you get to the second grey, you see this part in the middle here, and it says 01. Well, when you complete this part, then one will go in here, complete, then so on, it will keep going up. You always double check before you forge anything. So if I say Doc Holiday gun, it's through range, then I'm going to go back into here, filter, click range, go to gun, then look and make sure I don't have that gun. Now I've not got Doc Holiday gun here. It's not here. So perfect. If you just keep forging things, you'll end up reforging things twice, 3 times. So you always, before you forge something, just go back out, go to your basket or your forge and have a look in there and make sure you don't already have that item. You don't want to do things twice. The same as anything else. If you do it twice, you've just wasted materials and holding yourself back. Every time you do this, it's vital. You're holding yourself back and it's costing you time. And time's growth. So you don't want to do that. I can't really think of anything else. You've got core equipment. It's not really, none of that's important now. Ingredients combined, you don't need to go near them. Inlay. So the inlay part, crystals. The way I normally do it is I would start here and I'd put a life in because it's the first crystal and it's the first slot here. Now, so I would put life in, I'd go to the second one, I'd put defense in. So you've got your lives here, defense here, and you see it's giving you the choice of different sizes of crystals, level 1s, 2s, 3s. Now I'm used, all my life and defense has already been put on, so I've not really got much of them. But if you have a look down, I could put siege on it. I could put anything I want. Obviously you don't want to put siege on it. So you've got the second slot's defense, then the third slot here. That would then be whatever type of troop it is. So this is for cavalry stuff. So then you would put one of the crystals in there. Some people sometimes miss life or defense and they'll put like a frostbite type of crystal, or you've got these crystals here. That's frostbite, see it there? And then it's telling you what type of troops it's for. If I click on that here, on this side here, you're seeing that gives 2.5 boost to infantry and calves. Then you've got, I think it's flame blast, which is here. If I click on that, it'll tell you it's giving you a range boost or a calves boost. Then you've got crystal, bandit crystal. You see here, that's giving you 1%, or I think it's 2.5 for range and infantry. The problem with adding these types of crystals is you're either taking away from life or defense, or quite possibly if you've run out of crystals for your calves, you could put one of those crystals in place of the calf until you've got a higher boost. Take that off, add the calf. It's okay having the crystals, but I think further on in the game, once you open the extra slot, because if you go back, you'll see there's a slot here that's locked. That will come later on. It's in the research in the sheriff's slot, I think. Or is it in the core equipment slot? Away at the end, a long time away. Focus on getting these crystals right and as high as you can. And when this is ready to open, you'll open it. And that means you can add the types of crystals in that slot. Or you get a type of crystal that you add to that slot and it will let you double up on life, defense, or whatever type, calves in this case. So it'll let you double up on it. So you could have 2 lives, 2 defenses, 2 calves, range, infantry, whatever it is. But the basics of things is going slow, ask questions, and just don't keep forging things or adding crystals. Crystals are really expensive to take away. The problem, if you have a look here, when you click to take a crystal off, you'll see X right there beside the crystal. Click on that X, then it gives you a choice. Now, I don't know why it wouldn't just give you one choice for the size of crystal it is, because they know what size it is, but they just confuse people. So, if you have a look here, it's saying 1000 gold for a crystal up to level 1 to 4. Now, 1 to 4 is basically what I'm on now. If you go back, oh, sorry. Damn it. If you go back and press that again. Now, if you look up here at the top, there it's telling you what size is your crystal. It's a level 4. See it? That's the size of crystal you want to take off. So then you match that to what this is. So you're taking a level 4 off, and you would just hit remove with gold, because you don't want to remove it with this top part here. This will just remove it and discard it. So if you want to keep the crystal, you can't press that top one. You've got to use gold to take it off. That's why it costs so much. So the more crystals you add, the more money it's going to cost to recover them all. Now you can imagine if I had every item there had level 1, 2, 3, 4 crystals on it, it costs an absolute fortune in gold just to take them all off, to combine and add them back to fix them all. That's why it costs so much. The more crystals you add, the more money and time it is to repair them once you actually figure out what you're doing. So the best thing to do if you don't know what crystals are or how to use them, just do not add them. Because if you add them at low, say level 1s, it costs the same as a level 1 to take off as it does a level 3. So if you add hundreds of level 1s, you don't really get much crystals for it, but it still costs you a lot of gold to take off. So please don't add crystals. Let them get to 8%, which is here. See it? The green is 8%. I would only ever add an 8% crystal to things and up. If you need to add a 5, then you can add it, but it's not really adding much, but it's still something. It's better having a 5 than a nothing, as long as you know what you're doing. Then add the 5, and then you can always take it off, combined, and re-add again. If you have a wee look up at the top corner here, up here, you'll see a small bin sign. That small bin sign is for deleting the equipment. So I'll go into something that's not really hanging. If I click delete, then it's going to ask me, do you want to delete, but it's going to lose any crystals. Now, if I have that crystal that's on that was put on there for a preset test. But if I delete that item right now, whatever crystals I have on here is just going to completely delete them. They're lost. So if you're ever going to delete a bit of equipment, make sure you take the crystals off, or they're gone forever. I think I've covered most of the basic stuff. Core equipment, not really a problem now for most people. And by the time you get to that point in the game, you'll probably know what you're doing anyway. So that's for later on. And the same. So that's really just sets. So if you look here, you've got Warlord, Raiders, Tribal. So it's basically showing you the set. It's a wee bit like using the filters, but actually filtering equipment. So if you're really into collecting sets, but it doesn't really affect what you're doing. Is you forge the gear you need. You don't forge it because it looks nice or it's a good colour. You forge it because it gives you the best boosts you can. So basically that's it, guys.